Hey everyone, I've done a fair few videos now about chord shapes and concentrating on the neck of the instrument. So I've been meaning to do a couple of videos now about strumming, about the other hand. Because a lot of people think the left hand is doing all the work, holding all the chord shapes, while the right hand just goes up and down. And this probably seems true, especially for beginners, when there seems that there's so much for the left hand to learn. But the reality is that there's actually a lot going on with the strumming hand. It's in charge of the tempo, the volume, rhythm, percussion, sometimes plucking individual strings, and dynamics and accents. And in fact, most of the creative input is coming from the strumming hand, while the left hand is often just on autopilot, just changing chords every few bars. That's not to say that the left doesn't also do some complicated stuff, but the point is that the right hand, or the strumming hand, if you're left-handed or right-handed, the strumming hand is highly overlooked and underrated. So I'd like to do a few lessons on just looking at what it's doing with strumming. A lot of people then kind of focus on strumming patterns that they might have seen, particularly the ones that get written down in a shorthand, like down, down, up, down, up, down, to the point where they're sometimes really fixated on these. And to be honest, I have to say that I almost never think about a fixed strumming pattern. And I think you can get very stuck if you think you have to follow a set pattern all the way through a song. But I think I'm going to talk more about this in a future video. But for now, I actually am going to look at a fixed strum pattern so that we can break it down and analyze it and just see what's going on and understand it properly, so that later, when we want to ignore it and break the rules, then we at least understand the rules so we know what we're doing. So the first thing that's going on in a strumming pattern or a rhythm is the beat. And usually it's groups of 4 beats or 3 beats. Could be a fast or slow tempo or speed, but it's usually pretty consistent. So that's the metronome of our song that keeps it all in time. So if we're dealing with a standard 4 count, 1, 2, 3, 4. But of course, we don't just play exactly on those beats. Our rhythm is going to be all about the gaps in between. So there's going to be subdivisions. So it's useful to count the half beats in between like this. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the strong beats, the down beats, are still the numbers 1 to 4, but we're also naming the upbeats in between, and 2 and 3. So our strumming hand is generally keeping this tempo by strumming down on the beat and up in between. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So we get this action for the down and up strums. If I write it out like this, this diagram is the basis of all strumming patterns. I mean, we're going to find our rhythm variation by adding or removing strums, which will have us play on or off the beat. So the example I'm going to use today, I'm going to take away some of these beats and leave some gaps. The strumming pattern I'm going to use as an example, it's so classic, it's become a cliche with its own name, the island strum, you might have heard of. And that's often notated as down, down, up, up, down, up. So what does that mean? If we take this diagram, and so you can see this second line is what our hand is doing. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, to the beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, the first D of our strum pattern matches on beat 1. So that's a down strum. The next strum of our pattern is also a D. So we're going to have to skip this first U and put it on the beat 2 downbeat. And then our third strum is a U, so that'll come in straight away as the hand moves up after beat 2. And then the fourth strum is another U. So this time we're going to skip the downbeat strum on beat 3. And you can see that we finish with U, D, U, which matches the hand movement up, down, up. So you can see how that little shorthand of down, down, up, down, up strumming pattern it's told you the down strums, the up strums, and which beats to miss, because you're assuming that your hand is always going down, up, and we've just emphasized the ones we're going to play. Down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. So while your hand is going up and down regularly, keeping time, and the beat is on all the down strokes, the actual strums where you hit the strings, that is the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can hear, if I count, there's a beat that doesn't get a strum on beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So not every beat gets a strum, and some strums are between the beats. And this would sound like a pretty familiar rhythm, the island strum, I guess, because it's got a slight calypso feel to it. Okay, but however, you don't just want to hammer it out at the one volume. If I demonstrate that, it can sound really forced if every strum has the same weight. So it doesn't sound very subtle. Beginners tend to do this, and it sounds a bit amateur, actually, because there's no subtlety. So what you want to try and get is some dynamics, some highs and lows in the strength and the volume. So some strums are going to be a bit louder for emphasis, and they'll be accented, and the rest will be a bit softer, so that the accented notes can stand out. So I'm going to make these beats stand out with a louder accent. I'm doing there. You can hear the difference if I play them all at one volume again. And then go more subtle again. It's a subtle difference, but what we've actually done, if you'll see there, is I've come up with a different way of counting our 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and beats, and we're now counting them 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And if you 1 down, down, up. If you clap the accent on the 1, you can really hear the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's what gives the rhythm its groove. So it still matches the beats in the first line. Nothing's changed as far as the tempo. The main thing to notice is we've added a really strong up strum between beats 2 and 3. 1, 2. So that upbeat is a bit more emphasized. That's what gives this rhythm a bit of energy and bounce. It's probably pretty subtle, but you can hear there's a bit more technique going on in the strumming. So just to recap, on this diagram, you've got the beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the hand is following this, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. The accents are on the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then the strums fit into that. Down, down, up, up, down, up. It's all going on at once. Now, there's another way that you can play these beats, which is a little hard to explain exactly. It's more about the feel. There's a term that you might have heard called swing. So what that means is, rather than being extremely precise and on the beat like a robot, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all equal, like this diagram, swing is where the downbeats are just going to be slightly long and the upbeats are going to be a tiny bit late and cut slightly short so that they catch up. And you get a sense of long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. And it's still going to be in time because the downbeats are all going to start on time. But the upbeats are lazier and kind of behind the beat. So to demonstrate, compared to a straight beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, where all the ups and downs are even. With a swing beat, it's a bit more relaxed and a bit bouncier. But the beat's still the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a straight beat because the ups and downs are even. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And with a swing beat, it's going to be a longer down and then a quicker up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's another little subtle thing that can happen in the beat. So you can do the island strum as a straight beat. Or as a swung beat. So it's the same tempo. You only really notice the swing in that last up down up, where it's really obvious that the weight of the beats has changed. Longer down beats, shorter up beats. So that's a swing beat. Now, if we look again at the island strum pattern, down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see the third beat has always been dropped. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no strum. It's a silent gap. But I could emphasize that a bit more by really muting it. I could mute the strings with the soft part of my hand so that the third beat is obvious by being completely silent rather than just the strings ringing. So that's a little technique. Or I could actually slap the body of the uke on beat 3 like this. This is going to give me a kind of a reggae feel because a reggae rhythm always has an accent on the third beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or, I almost did it then. You could do a combination of both, like percussion and mute, which is known as a chuck strum. It's where I hit the strings to get the percussive noise, but I also mute them immediately. You put your hands straight down and silence the strings. You can hear a little bit of the chord. notice I can play this as a straight beat or a swing beat. So the straight beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or swung beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's still the island strum. It's everything we've been doing, but now it's got a different feel to it. Now, if we didn't want reggae, but we wanted more rock and roll, we could change that percussive strum so it's not on the 3, but on the 2 and the 4, like a proper backbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is rock and roll. So they're still my down strums, but now they're more of a chuck on those downs. You hear a little bit of the chord, but mostly it's like a percussive backbeat. And I can play this as a straight beat or a swing beat. So straight, 1, 2, down, down, up, up, down, up. Or swung beat, 1. So notice that swing doesn't affect the backbeat because the downs are both on the 2 and 4, and the numbered ones are always on the beat. The swing is to do with the ups being slightly late and just gives it a more of a lazy kind of funky kind of feel. There you go. So all of this today has just been what's called the island strum pattern. Down, down, up, down, up. But there's plenty of other patterns out there and lots of other techniques. So I hope this has made some things about strumming patterns clearer, like seeing how it's built up from the basics. But also it shows you how much choice and variety that you've got even within just a single strum pattern. You really are in charge of how you make the rhythm work within a song and how you want to express it, all with your right hand. It's pretty rare that a song actually has exactly the same rhythm for every bar of the whole song. There's usually variety between different parts of the verse, the chorus, the bridge, the instrumentals, etc. And sometimes rhythms change within each specific line. So that's why I said I don't really think in terms of these prescriptive strum patterns. I'm much more looking at the rhythm as I play it in that moment, and it could be constantly changing. But you want to use these strum patterns as exercises to develop a technique until you're confident that you can just create rhythms that fit the song the way you want to. So hopefully I'll make a few more videos to look at how you might figure out how to strum in a song. But this has been a lot to play with for now. So cheers. I hope this has been interesting. Thanks for watching.